Hello, all you lovely people out there. How are you all doing? I'm Kate Hill, and I am here to give you the best commentary about our property markets. Tina Howes is with me from SmartMove, one of Australia's leading and award-winning mortgage brokers. We are giving you a whole series explaining all things property finance, so stay tuned. Hello, everyone. I am here with Tina today to talk to you, as always, about all things property and finance. Hello, Tina.
Hi, Kate.
How are you going?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Good. Busy as always.
Excellent.
So we've got a great topic for you, as always. So if you picture the scene, everyone, you've booked a meeting or a call in with your bank or your broker. Tina had some key pointers for us as to how to be better prepared and to make the most of this initial meeting before you then go off and seek your finance approval. So, Tina, perhaps you can maybe also explain to us all of that, obviously, but then also how these conversations might actually differ, if you see what I mean.
Okay. All right. I mean, everybody has, every broker and banker will have their own flavor and their own style, what they prefer. Me personally, the way that I try to sort of make the most of our initial get together, whether that's a Zoom these days or face to face, is I like to have an initial phone call whereby I get a clear understanding of what it is that you're after from me. So it's, Tina, I'd like to buy my first home, but I don't know how much I can afford, and I'd love your help with that. So on that phone call, I might run through what the process is, collect a bit of the information, and then I'll usually send out a request for detailed paperwork, and what will kind of be included in that is for you to do your budget. So right up front in the process, I like you to have an understanding of what you can afford in terms of how much rent you're paying, how much you're saving at the moment, and what all your outgoings are, but also having some kind of idea of, well, what are we really prepared to put aside every week in terms of our income towards a mortgage or a property. So knowing those numbers up front puts you in a really good position to have a meaningful conversation with your expert when you're actually sitting down with them and looking at how much the bank will lend you versus what you've thought about you're prepared to spend on that mortgage.
Yes.
Because we all know they're two very different numbers.
Indeed.
But so that would be my kind of first pointer in terms of making sure you've done your budget. Know what your salary is. A lot of people don't. They might know what's coming into their bank account after their tax, but it's a lot more useful for your finance professional if you know what your actual salary is before superannuation.
I was going to say that, yes, before.
Yeah. If you're getting commissions, know roughly how much commission you've received. And if you've had bonuses, be prepared to articulate what you've received in bonuses over the last 2 years from that employer. So there's some really key numbers to have handy. In regards to if you're self-employed, make sure your taxes are up to date. So if you're not sure what year you've done your taxes up to, go and find out before you sit down with your broker, because that's going to help determine what lender you'll actually go to, because every lender is a little bit different in terms of the cut-off dates for financials.
And explain to us just quickly, I mean, I think I know, but why do self-employed people need to have their taxes done?
Because the lenders are going to want to look at their personal tax returns, their company, if they're operating a company or trust, their company tax returns, as well as their financial statements, so a profit and loss and a balance sheet.
So this is actually also your taxable income for the year, right? That's what the bank needs to assess.
Yes. So, you might be a sole trader and you may have taken home $100,000 in income, but if you've then gone through and declared materials, expenses and everything to the point where your taxable income is $20,000, it's probably the more relevant figure that the lenders want to use. So you might be having a discussion with your bank or broker about this 100,000 income, but when push comes to shove and they actually receive the paperwork and they see that actually the taxable income is this much, that's the more relevant number that the banks are going to look at. Sure, there may be some add backs in there, some items that are one-off or discretionary, but largely it's kept very simple from the bank's perspective. And if you've been deducting XYZ, it's coming off. If you're looking to buy a property, particularly if it's an investment, before you have that meeting, have a rough idea of what entity you would like to buy that in. So that means talking to your accountant, because your financial advisor, your broker, or your bank is not going to be able to advise you on what is the most appropriate in that circumstance. They'll be able to tell you how the lending parameters vary amongst different scenarios, but have an idea of, am I going to be buying it in my personal name? If there's two of us buying it, am I going to be putting more of the ownership into the higher income earner? And that's not always the best situation. So don't take that as a, oh, that's the best way. Are you looking to buy in a company or a trust or in a super fund? So have a rough idea of that entity, because all the work that's going to be done behind the scenes will vary depending on which entity you're looking to purchase in.
Yes, that's right. And I from experience, in my business, people do change their minds and suddenly then have to or realize actually that wasn't the best idea that we had there. We are going to buy it in our personal names after all, not in a trust. That was bad advice. Or, and then
exactly.
Start again.
Yes. Be very prepared to pull together a lot of paperwork.
Okay?
Look,
no, listen
a lot of lenders,
people. It's a necessary evil. You got to do it. So yes.
Look, the lenders are getting better. And some of the lenders that are doing very well in the marketplace are those that are asking for less paperwork, because they're relying on their technology and systems and credit reporting to determine the risk worthiness of the proposal, rather than going through every single paper under the sun. But there is a lot of time involved from your side of things to pull together that paperwork. So just be mindful of that. There is a significant investment from yourself and also the professional that you're talking to.
Yes.
So make sure you're ready and you are serious about what you're doing, because you're going to need to spend some time doing that.
I couldn't agree more. And it's no good huffing and puffing, don't they know who I am? Actually, no, they don't. You're a number, you're a file number, and they need to do their due diligence. You need to suck it up, buttercup, and do that and fill in 10,000 forms. And you just do. I know, but it's worth it, guys. It's worth it.
At this point in time, it's not, if you're refinancing a loan, unfortunately, it's not simply a case of, have I made all of my repayments? Unfortunately, there's a lot more to it. You may be making all your repayments well and truly and putting more money into your offset account, but that's not sufficient, and they may still very well knock you back for a loan. And if you're paying X amount in rent and saving, and that's more than the proposed new mortgage, that's also not simply enough. Okay? The bank will do a whole assessment on you. And that entails paperwork. And you to have a good broad understanding of your own financial circumstances.
Noted, everyone. Okay.
So
it's a good point. And we do try and prepare our clients for that too, because during this whole property purchasing process, there's a lot of paperwork. We have paperwork for our clients. The conveyancer will have paperwork. There's anyway. It's one of those facts of life, everyone. Deal with it. Yes, it's worth it. Yes.
If you would like to make the process smoother and more seamless, I have some tips for you. When you are asked for paperwork in this process, so as I mentioned, I'm going to ask for the paperwork before we have that sit down face-to-face meeting, because when I'm presenting, people are very busy. It's very often, if I'm meeting with both applicants, it's very difficult to find a time that suits everybody. So I want to make sure that face-to-face meeting is really valuable, and we're talking strategy, that we're not just me collecting how much do you earn, how much savings do you have. We'll do that stuff over the phone first, and when you complete all the paperwork. So when you are requested for that paperwork, provide it all in one go as best as you can, rather than dribs and drabs, because chances are your bank or broker is very busy. If they're good at their job, they're very busy. And if you send things through in dribs and drabs, chances are they will miss something, or it just adds to the process.
Yes.
That's be organised, send it through in one go.
Really good point. Yeah.
My second key point is if there's an urgency to what you're after, let's say you've already found a property and then you've gone and started talking to somebody, then pull together everything with a sense of urgency, because your bank or broker is likely to have multiple clients and they're forever trying to balance
the same thing. That's right.
and prioritize
Yes.
who they need to deal with first. And so if you're responding with a sense of urgency, then chances are they will respond back with that same sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Versus someone that's had the conversation, has sat on the paperwork for months and then comes back with, oh, I found a property. That will generally mean somebody else gets pushed down the line. So just be mindful of that.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And probably my last key point is do respect your broker or bank's time. They are a free service to you. You're not paying them by the hour, but treat them as though you were. Treat them as if they were billing you by that hour, and respect that time. So, don't stand them up. Keep to your appointments if you've made a time to chat, and respect their time so that they can actually act urgently for you. Yeah. Particularly when you need them to, such as if you had a finance clause and you need them to turn around an approval within 5 days for you. Okay.
Yes.
They're my key tips to how to sort of get the most from your first meeting with your bank or your broker.
Yes. And talk us through a little bit. There's also that the requirement, you need people's permission to work for them, right? So I think you get them to sign some sort of, not service agreement, but do you get people to sign something that says, I'm your broker?
We have an application form, which is a broker fact find.
Yes. Okay.
Which you then complete all of that.
Yes.
Before we actually proceed to a lender, there's a credit proposal which you need to acknowledge and sign off on that.
Yes. Okay. That's
look, every broker is different. There might be some out there that have an engagement letter whereby you're onboarding that broker and agreeing to work with them.
Yes.
I have seen some before whereby that broker might actually charge a fee or have a fee built in there that if they get your pre-approval and you haven't purchased within 6 months, that there's a fee owed to them. And
I think there are brokers who do charge a fee but then reimburse you once they get paid, or like you said, there's different ways of doing things.
And while I might not have that type of structure, I'm not going to bag out that arrangement, because as I said, it's really important that your broker is a free service, but their time is valuable. So every broker will have a model that works best for them, so that they can work best for you. That's ultimately what it's about.
What about, how do I put this? I guess, people do shop around for brokers, right? You must have conversations with people who are saying to you quite openly, look, I'm talking to a number of brokers.
Yeah. And that's okay. For the most part, most of my clients are recommended from another client, another or a referral partner. And in that situation, people are very busy and they're less likely to shop around. But occasionally you do have someone that's spoken to another broker and possibly not happy with their services, or are happy with the services and then wish to speak to. I always say to people, at the end of the day, most brokers will have access to most of the same lenders. I have access to about 40 different lenders. So if your broker doesn't have access to that many, ask them why not. They might have access, but they might not be accredited. So ask them how many different banks they're using. Be wary of a broker that's only working with a handful of banks, maybe 3 or 4. That might be because they're pushing their volume to a certain bank to ensure that they get the level of service that they need to be able to actually perform for you. But that might not mean that they're actually putting your best interest first, because but it's not uncommon for a broker to work with 5 to 10 banks that they largely use, because a lot of circumstances will be very similar. And a lot of banks that there is a handful of banks that do things really quickly and do things really well. So, and if that meets your requirements and objectives, you're going to keep using those banks. But there will always be certain circumstances that are outside the square that need to go to a lender that might not be the cheapest or the quickest, but
Yes, or the
a
most
broker that has
well-known.
access to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back to your question, if you are shopping around with brokers, I always tell people to go with your gut instinct.
Yeah.
Work with a person that you trust. And right from the outset, there's no point a broker going to a bank at the same time as another broker going to a bank, because that's just going to hit your credit rating. And essentially, the brokers are doing the same job.
Yeah.
So pick one that you're most comfortable with and that you trust and that you want to work with. And then hopefully that all goes smoothly. If it didn't, then that's probably when I'd say go and find someone else that can help you.
Yeah. Fantastic. So really we're summarizing, have all your, ideally, know all your basic personal information in terms of salaries and rents and all those incomes, have your budget in hand, as it were, and get your paperwork and all those bits of info that you need together in one go as best you can, and get them over to you as completely as possible in one go. Yeah.
Become financially literate in your own circumstances.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because you're about to do one of the biggest decisions of your life, and you don't want to put all of that trust into someone else.
Yes.
You want to at least have an understanding of what your financial comfort is and what your risk appetite is.
And look, as an aside, everyone knows what a spreadsheet freak I am. It does often amaze me, how many people aren't, like you say, financially literate about their own situation, so I literally monitor every cent that comes in and out. I know kind of what's going on. So I think while I'm probably a bit OTT, I think something perhaps a step down for what I'm like is not a bad way to be, and just be savvy in that front, because then you'll also know what you need to do to get yourself into the position that you want to be, or that you need to be in if you're not there just right now.
Absolutely, because one of those conversations that you're going to have with your bank or your broker is, this is how much the bank will lend you. This is what the repayment is. But the next step beyond that is, okay, well, that's what the repayment is now. What does the repayment look like with another 1%, another 2%, 5.5%? What does the repayment look like? Can we still afford that?
Yeah.
So how much am I actually prepared to borrow because of my life circumstances now, but also what are we planning to do in the next 12 months, 2 years, 3 years? Are we taking career breaks? Are we going traveling? Are we having children?
That's right.
So you'll need to make those decisions irrespective of what your borrowing power is and what the banks will actually lend you.
That's right.
Because it's just a snapshot of right here, right now.
Yeah. And in order to make those decisions, people, you need a spreadsheet. Okay. Enough about that.
We love our spreadsheet.
We do. Oh my God, we do. Tina, thank you so much, love, as always. Super useful info, everyone. Give Tina a call or an email at
tina@smartmove.com.au.
Fabulous. And we'll flash up the phone number as well. Don't forget, you can also contact me. We'll have all those details in the descriptions below. And we will see you all again soon for another amazing conversation with Tina. So bye for now.
Bye, Kate. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
I really hope that you found all of that useful. Tina is a mind of information. She and I will bring you lots more videos explaining all things property finance. Don't forget to leave us a comment and a question. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and also just give us a little like on the video if you are enjoying the free content. And we will see you really soon. Bye.